Today on MHK All Day, how a new product has smoke shops filling up across the Manhattan area. Then we'll take a look at K-State football's Skylar Thompson as he made his return to the field. And later we'll take a trip across state lines for this week's installment of The Garage. Stay tuned for all this and more. This is MHK All Day. Welcome back to another edition of MHK All Day. I'm Jacob Hall. On today's show, we'll be seeing what Manhattan residents think about the new Delta 8 products hitting local shops, and we'll also take a look into two local businesses that are reopening for live performances and in-person audiences. But first, let's take a look at the news from around our area with Dawson Wagner in our News in 90.
Good morning and welcome back to News in 90. To get us started this week, we have construction updates that the City of Manhattan announced for the North Campus corridor. The project will be continuing the changes on Kimball Avenue all the way from Dennison to North Manhattan Avenue. Starting on Monday, October 18th, Phase 10 of the project will begin a total reconstruction of the street, storm drainage system, and sidewalks that are all being funded from a $4 million economic development grant from the Kansas Department of Transportation. Last week, on Tuesday, October 5th, more than 100 students gathered in front of Anderson Hall to protest sexual violence in the Kansas State community. They marched through campus and ended at the president's residence, where they asked questions and engaged in dialogue with President Myers. In a statement released on Thursday, Myers said he has asked the students from Monday's rally for some concrete actions they would like to see us take. University officials said a more detailed list of action items to tackle sexual violence on campus will be sent out in a university newsletter. To conclude this week on News in 90, we covered the 5th annual KSU Night event on Tuesday, October 12th, where feature presentations from Minnie Jean Brown-Trickey, a key figure in the civil rights movement, and Caleb Stevens, a connector of communities through vulnerability and mental wellness, both spoke to students to help them understand the importance of becoming a more diverse, inclusive, and driven campus that reflects this year's theme of our lens, our focus, our K-State. That's all we have for this week on News in 90. Thanks for listening. Back to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Dawson. A new product has been hitting the market and is being touted as legal hemp. Smoke shops across Manhattan are seeing an increase in customers. Reporter Dawson Wagner has more on this story.
It began showing up a few months ago in smoke shops across Manhattan, CBD American Shaman being one of them.
It's like the first kind of alt cannabinoid that really hit the market, is that it was a process that they'd already been doing.
It's called Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC, but the difference between the two is important to understand.
You know, a lot of people claim that they like to use the cannabinoids for their anxiety, but then you get a group of people that say smoking weed makes me paranoid. Well, Delta 8, from dozens of people that have come through and talked to us about them, the Delta 8 doesn't give them any kind of that anxiety, that paranoia. And these are people that were smoking Delta 9 for years, and they tell me that they would rather use 8 over 9 because they get paranoia with 9.
Now currently, state and federal law both ban products sold with over 0.3% Delta 9 THC. But the Kansas Farm Bill, called the Commercial Industrial Hemp Act, that legalized hemp in May, doesn't mention either Delta 8 or 9. Yet, it makes hemp products legal as long as they contain less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC.
You know, you get people that they want a little something stronger than CBD because they can't sleep. So, you know, you find a nice combination of that CBD and a low dose of the Delta 8, and that THC helps to get them, you know, to sleep. And it's a difference of a good night's sleep for a lot of people.
So currently, products with less than 0.3% THC are legal. But what is the difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9?
So Delta 9 is derived from marijuana plants, and Delta 8 is derived from hemp plants. So per Kansas law, hemp can legally be sold with the percent 0.3 or below, and marijuana is completely illegal in the state of Kansas.
So what does this mean for the future of legalizing marijuana in Kansas?
I definitely think that Kansas is definitely headed in the direction of legalizing marijuana in some capacity.
With Kansas headed in the direction of legalization, people like Isaac Greathouse, a regular at CBD American Shaman, can have easier access to products that help him get a better night's sleep.
If you want to help sleep, helps me sleep, helps my mom sleep because of a whole family nerve disorder. So it's really good to have around.
For MHK All Day, I'm Dawson Wagner.
Reporter Kate Kennedy went into Aggieville to investigate how Manhattan residents are feeling about Delta 8 in our new segment, The Pulse.
We're back in Aggieville today to ask Manhattan residents their opinions on the CBD-derived product, Delta 8, which is fully legal across the state of Kansas.
I don't really know a lot about it. I just know that it's a little bit of what could be THC.
So I know that Delta 8 is very similar in the chemical makeup to what is commonly known as marijuana.
It's like a big fat loophole, essentially, but it operates like weed.
I've used some of the products before, not much.
They just calm me down a lot more than I can, like usually with myself and other like medicine that have been like prescribed.
I think it can benefit some people in some ways, and it does, and some others it doesn't.
And I think that products like these can do a lot of good, and they serve people in a beneficial way when they're handled responsibly by the producers and researched well by the consumers.
I feel like it's crazy we ain't legalized that yet. Like, it just blows my mind.
A lot of people are already using it, so it's better to do it legally than illegally.
It's a high demand, like people are already getting it in anyways, so if you make it legal, then the government can benefit from it and we can all benefit from it more.
Should be used for certain medical ailments. However, I do think that it can be abused.
If you're going to let Delta 8 be legal and it be, questionably more questionable than marijuana itself, which has regulation procedures in place, legalize the real stuff.
If we're allowing a marijuana product that gives the same high to be available to everyone, then what are we doing to prevent people from going up to other highs of more dangerous proportions?
It's really not as bad as people try to make it seem. I feel like if more people smoke marijuana, a lot more people will be chill. I'm serious.
As of now, Delta 9 products are illegal in the state of Kansas, but Delta 8 can be purchased in shops all across Aggieville and Manhattan. As of August 2021, 18 states have made Delta 8 illegal. Only time will tell if Kansas decides to follow suit. For MHK All Day, I'm Kate Kennedy.
Thanks, Kate. Coming up later in the show on Bernie Say What, learn how to make a spine-chilling wreath for your door that will have all the trick-or-treaters running. Plus, we'll head to the K-State Student Union to see how Rocket League players performed in the first ever live stream esports tournament. All this up next.
So within industrial engineering, you can actually start your master's degree a year early and start taking those classes your senior year. And then after you go through those upper level courses, you only really have a year left and you would come out with your bachelor's and master's degree, which is something I have been considering just because, it's one extra year and I do love K-State. So it's like, win-win. But that's a perk with being an industrial engineer. You're able to get your master's degree in just one extra year.
I went on my campus tour. They had the Baja racing teams, all the parts and everything on display, and I was like, that's super cool. My first year, we made robots, made a line following robot, assembled it and coded it. My current major is biomedical engineering. It's like a jack of all trades since you take coding from computer science and then some stuff from electrical. It's kind of just a mix of all the main departments of college engineering, and this is the spot for me.
Kansas State's athletic program does not like to postpone until tomorrow what can be accomplished today.
It's going to be tied into Bramlage with some upgrades to Bramlage in terms of the Legends Room. Is now going to be 7 times bigger than it currently is, with new entrances on the east and west side. So that facility, the South End Zone project, is going to touch both Bramlage in a very positive way, and obviously finish off the stadium look and feel.
like, oh, these people love football. Like, these people are nuts about Kansas State. And Saturday morning, I mean, swarms of people outside of the stadium tailgating. We come in, it's about 45 minutes before game time. The stadium's packed. And I'm like, this is the atmosphere. Whenever I dream of playing college football, this is exactly what I see. The chants, the music, everything. And just throughout the entire game, I mean, it was just a place I knew I had to be.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. On the segment that aspires, inspires, and speaks with fire, this is Bernie Say, what? And today, I'm gonna be teaching y'all how to make a spooky wreath. So, for this project, you'll need a clown mask or any mask of your choice, but this one was creepy, so you know, we're going with the whole spooky thing. And you can get that from any local store, even like a Halloween store. And then you'll need some eyeballs, okay? I got these little ping pong balls because I kind of like how they just fit in this mask perfectly, as y'all will see. And then I have ring refs, so I have various sizes to go with mine, but you can use like a regular ring ref or like a styrofoam one. And then I have glitter spiders because I like the little sparkly element that they give, so we'll do that. And then spider web, blood, a hot glue gun, and then some bowls for the messy blood. So to get started, you'll want to take the ring, not the smallest one, the medium one. No, wait, it's the small one, just kidding. And you'll stick it in here to make it fit on the mask properly, just like so. And then we'll take the eyeballs and we'll stick them through the eye holes, just like that, see? And not like that, there we go. It'll fit once you have the glue gun also, because then it'll help with the sticking of the eyeballs inside. And then we'll stick the other one, and I'm gonna make mine kind of like up so that it'll look a little more spooky. So it'll look like this. And then we're gonna take the spiders, and we gonna kind of stick it in his ear because it got a little ear hole right here. Ooh, I broke the spider, y'all, Lord. There we go. And then we're gonna stick it in there. And then we're gonna stick one in his hair. Now, so we're gonna take the spider web and we're gonna stretch it out a little bit because it's kind of hard to cut. So we're gonna stretch it out a little bit and we're gonna take our bigger ring and we're gonna kind of stretch it around that. So make it a little spooky. And if you have a dark ring, it'll look a little bit more blended in, but you wanna stretch it out kind of nice and get it all nice and full, okay? And then we're gonna take our mask, which my eyeball keep falling out, which might add to the spooky if you ask me. But we're gonna stick that in there and then we're gonna set the mask on top of it. And once we do all of that with the hot glue, it'll be a little bit more realistic. And we'll take our blood and we'll add our blood into our bowl here. Ideally, I would have this open, but today, for the purpose of this little segment right now, I'm not. But we'll put the blood on the mask, you know, like a little drizzle, or you can do a little drop, whatever you want to do. Even in the eyeballs, if you put it in the eyeballs, he bleeding blood. That's scary to me. So once you do all of that, you'll have a completed little project, and you can also add some of your extra spiders into the wreath to make it kind of scarier. And then you'll have a beautiful wreath that'll have all the kids just crying and running away. But have a little bowl of candy on the side so they still kind of come to the door. But we're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how K-State quarterback is doing in his recent return from his injury, and we'll get our game controllers out for an e-tournament, ball and players from around the campus, and crowned a champion last weekend. That and all coming up next.
So within industrial engineering, you can actually start your master's degree a year early and start taking those classes your senior year. And then after you go through those upper level courses, you only really have a year left and you would come out with your bachelor's and master's degree, which is something I have been considering just because, you know, it's one extra year and I do love K-State. So it's like, you know, win-win. But that's a perk with being an industrial engineer. You're able to get your master's degree in just one extra year.
I went on my campus tour. They had like the Baja like racing teams, all the like parts and everything on display, and I was like, that's super cool. My first year, we made robots, made a line following robot, assembled it and coded it. And my current major is biomedical engineering. It's like a jack of all trades since you take coding from computer science and then some stuff from electrical. It's kind of just like a mix of like all the like main departments of college engineering, and this is the spot for me.
Kansas State's athletic program does not like to postpone until tomorrow what can be accomplished today.
It's going to be tied into Bramlage with some upgrades to Bramlage in terms of the Legends Room. Is now going to be 7 times bigger than it currently is, with new entrances on the east and west side. So that facility, the South End Zone project, is going to touch both Bramlage in a very positive way, and obviously finish off the stadium look and feel.
Upon arrival, I'm like, oh, these people love football. Like, these people are nuts about Kansas State. And Saturday morning, I mean, swarms of people outside of the stadium tailgating. We come in, it's about 45 minutes before game time. The stadium's packed. And I'm like, this is the atmosphere. Whenever I dream of playing college football, this is exactly what I see. The chants, the music, everything. And just throughout the entire game, I mean, it was just a place I knew I had to be.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. Tomorrow afternoon, the K-State Wildcats will look to end their 2-game losing skid against Iowa State. Under center will unquestionably be 6th-year senior quarterback Skylar Thompson, who made his triumphant return against Oklahoma in a narrow loss.
He played really well, and he doesn't want to tell you that because we didn't win the game. But to think that he has not played since whenever it was, the second quarter or first quarter of Southern Illinois, to do what that kid did against that defense and be under duress, and he hung in there and said, I'm gonna pitch it around, and the kid was on point.
It was still undecided as to whether or not Thompson would play until just a few hours before kickoff.
He got announced this morning to us, and it was one of those things where we were like, yeah, look, okay, let's go. That's our guy. He's back. We're so happy for him because that was big.
Kleiman says that when news spread that Thompson would play, it provided a spark to the team.
Yeah, there was a little different energy, I believe, throughout the whole football team, for him to be out there. And just because of not only the leadership ability, but his ability to improvise and make some plays and give us probably a lot more balance.
For Kleiman, he says that the extra week of preparation and recovery that came along with the bye week, Thompson is poised for a big finish to the season.
Skylar's a tremendous football player, and we missed him for a couple of weeks. Will and Jaron did a nice job, but there's a 6-year guy that's done this for an awful long time that knows the receivers and knows the offense. And I'm excited, even though we suffered a disappointing loss, I'm excited about where we can go with him only probably getting better.
Against the Sooners, Thompson completed 29 out of 41 passes for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns. This set career highs in both passing attempts and completions. Elsewhere, Wildcat 91.9 recently partnered with WTC Communications to host an esports tournament. Each group that participated assembled a team of 3, and prizes given out included trophies as well as $150. Corey Bowen is a member of the trio that took home first place playing the popular video game Rocket League.
It's kind of like car soccer, so you can kind of like fly through the air with cars and you hit a soccer ball, and got together with my team, so we play and put it together. We were talking well, communicating well, and we just put it together and ended up going all the way.
Bowen says he heard about the event from a friend that he has played with before, but he has little experience playing with the team's third member.
My friend Jacob, he came back to the house one day and he's like, hey, you want to play in a Rocket League tournament? I was like, yeah. And then so he had a buddy of his, Seth, and then so we formed a team and then just came and played.
Seth Thompson joined the team with several years of experience playing the game.
Rocket League's the only game I play, so I definitely dedicate the most time to it. Total hours in the game, I think 1,300.
Jacob Holleran says that with the team that he helped assemble, he knew that they had a great shot at winning.
I'd say we had a pretty decent shot. We're all pretty good at the game. It really came down to watching the other teams play before us and get a good read on them so we could decide how we're going to play.
The event took place at Forum Hall in the K-State Student Union. But in future years, there may be a spot right next to the bowling alley dedicated to esports.
The space down
in the bowling center, I think is a prime location, and we can create some synergies with our other recreational facilities that are in that area. We have somewhere between 3,500 to 5,000 square feet that we could dedicate to gaming with potentially computer stations as well as gaming consoles.
Williamson says that he hopes to get the process started by next fall.
As far as a program, a holistic program, which would include staffing on some level, the educational experience, and then hopefully sooner rather than later, physical facilities. I think we can get the process started by fall of next year.
For Bowen, he says that playing video games is all about having fun.
Just have fun. I mean, you'll get better as long as you have fun.
Future plans for the event include hosting more participants, giving out larger trophies, and increased cash prizes. Also, the goal is to have future esports tournaments last multiple days. The K-State volleyball team earned a Big 12 victory over West Virginia last night in Bramlage Coliseum. The Volley Cats will be back on the floor tonight as they look to win 2 in a row against the Mountaineers. After last night's win, Coach Susie Fritz said she wants the team to enjoy the win before focusing on the next match.
Coaches are notorious for looking ahead and not spending too much time celebrating the moment that they're in, and I want them to find some joy in the process of all the work that they invest in it.
Well, that's all we have for sports this week, but don't go away. Coming up, we'll take a look at some opportunities for you to see some live music right here in Manhattan. Then we'll head into the garage to learn how one Kansas musician is making his move to bigger things.
Kansas State's athletic program does not like to postpone until tomorrow what can be accomplished today.
It's going to be tied into Bramlage with some upgrades to Bramlage in terms of the Legends Room. Is now going to be 7 times bigger than it currently is, with new entrances on the east and west side. So that facility, the South End Zone project, is going to touch both Bramlage in a very positive way, and obviously finish off the stadium look and feel.
Upon arrival, I'm like, oh, these people love football. Like, these people are nuts about Kansas State. And Saturday morning, I mean, swarms of people outside of the stadium tailgating. We come in, it's about 45 minutes before game time. The stadium's packed. And I'm like, this is the atmosphere. Whenever I dream of playing college football, this is exactly what I see. The chants, the music, everything. And just throughout the entire game, I mean, it was just a place that I knew I had to be.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. 2 local businesses are hosting concert series events that are giving Manhattan residents a chance to enjoy live performances. Tomorrow night, Wildcat 91.9 and Public Hall will host the first Keep It Easy concert series performance since before the pandemic. The show is free of charge and will begin at 7:30 p.m. with the band Same Sounds taking the stage. Auntie May's Parlor has also begun its live performance series. Its first show will feature the traveling one-man band, Hosty. Like Public Hall, the Auntie May staff is excited for this revival, but wants to ensure the safety of everyone in attendance.
You know, and that's kind of why we're going so lightly with the live music, just trying to stick to one show a month. We want to see how people react to it. We understand that there's some trepidation about being around people that close, you know. So we're going to take a look at these next 3 or 4 shows. And then starting in 2022, we'll decide if we're going to book more, book less, something like that.
You can find more information on future performances at Auntie May's Parlor by visiting www.auntiemays.com/events. Now it's time to jump out of Aggieville and across state lines. This week on The Garage, host Zach Perez sat down with a Kansas native, Ben Prentiss, to discuss his recent success and move to bigger projects.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Garage. This week we've got a bit of an unconventional interview going on. This week I am interviewing Ben Prentiss, a singer-songwriter from Kansas City, Missouri. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Zach. How are you?
Obviously, as the people, viewers of this segment of the show have seen before, I've interviewed a lot of local artists from Kansas in the past few weeks, and you yourself have just started putting out music. I think you have, 3 or 4 singles out now?
I have 3 singles out now, and then 1 single's on the way.
Okay.
And then we have a full album recorded, but that probably will be a couple months before that's out.
How did you get into this business of recording music, making music? Was it something that you'd always wanted to do?
I think deep down it was something I always wanted to do. Like since like middle school, me and my friends would like record songs on GarageBand and stuff to like, you know, beats that we would find online. How it kind of came about is I started learning guitar not even like the summer of my freshman year in college. So only like a couple years ago. Just because at the time I used like comedy as my way of like coping with my like anxiety and depression. It was my like artistic outlet.
Kind of just going off of what you just said, I mean, I've listened to pretty much everything you've put out, and I've just kind of noticed, like, through your writing process, it seems like a lot of the stuff that you've done so far, it's, like, fairly personal. And would you say that, like, you're, kind of, as you said, like, it's helped you, like, deal with certain things? Is that, like, that's essentially, like, the part of the writing process for you, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. For sure, yeah. I don't ever, like, force myself to write songs. Like, even when I was, like, I'm gonna write an album, it was never me sitting down going, I'm gonna write a song right now. It was just when that feeling comes, bounce on it, you know? So every song that I've wrote is pretty instantaneous, like not instantaneous, but it's I feel something and I go, I need to play guitar. I need to write. Like, this is how I get through this. You know, you write a song and it's like, oh, well, look at this. Now this kind of negative moment feeling in my life is this positive. Now I have this song that I love out of it. So I think it's a fun way just to like process feelings that, you know, you don't always want to think about.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's been a common with like all of the like local artists that I've interviewed for this series so far is music's always an outlet. Like that's, I think, like what it's what it's always been, as like most creative projects are. Just, yeah, creating a positive thing out of like a really negative emotion or a really negative experience. And then you kind of create this thing that's, you know, beautiful in its own way and has a lot of meaning to you, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With the With Just Me release, it was the like couple of days right before it came out when it really hit me. I was like, oh, there's a lot of like deep vulnerability in this song. Like there's like people are about to hear some of the deepest like internal thoughts about myself that I have, and like that's just gonna be out in the world now, and they're gonna know that. So it's like it's one of those things like even when we record, sometimes I'll go like, oh, that's an intense line that I wrote. Like it's not something that I think of when I'm writing necessarily. Like I'm just putting stuff down, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, that's an intense line right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
You can find links to Ben's latest single, Just With Me, on his Instagram. Well, that's all we have this week for this show. We hope to see you back on October 29th for more of The Scoop on The Little Apple. This has been MHK All Day.